How's it going, everyone? Today I wanted to talk about my thoughts on Danmachi Battle Chronicle after playing it for about a month. Overall, it's an okay game if you've already invested in the franchise. If you've ever played Danmachi Memoria Freese, then this game is going to feel very similar with its upgrade systems and mediocre gacha rates. The gameplay is essentially a hack and slash, which some of you may prefer over the traditional turn-based battle systems. There's several big chapters consisting of smaller chapters where you're going through a dungeon typically killing a variety of smaller enemies, followed by bigger enemies or even a boss. The gameplay was fun enough to keep me engaged at least during the beginning. You can mindlessly slash through the smaller enemies, and the boss battles will have a variety of factors that are the game's attempt at putting any strategy into this game. For example, many of the boss's moves will be pretty choreographed, highlighting exactly what areas their upcoming attack will strike. This forces you to either dodge or switch your character out to someone more tanky. The bad thing about this part of the gameplay so far is that some of the bosses will perform special attacks back to back, without giving you any time to dodge or strategize. You can dodge once, but because dodging has a cooldown, it's impossible to dodge the second attack, which forces you to switch to another character to tank the damage or create a shield. Sometimes I feel like the boss is just going too ham and there's literally nowhere to run or dodge. Another thing the developers added into this game so that the hack and slash is not mindless is the addition of environmental pads where if you or an enemy step inside it, you can either get a buff or debuff. So far this has not significantly affected me and I just mindlessly fight through these areas. The nice thing about the game, however, is that there's an auto battle function and a mission skip function. With every good thing there must also be a bad thing. So the auto battle function allows your character to fight automatically, but they fight very slowly and don't even utilize assist characters or items. Your team's power level will need to be higher than the recommended level in order for you to comfortably beat the level with auto battling. For the most part, you can auto battle most of the game's current content and then manually fight some of the tougher boss battles. Now once you've beaten the level, you gain the ability to skip it if you wish to replay the level. By skipping the level, you gain the experience and rewards without actually playing the level. This will quickly deplete your stamina if you're lazy like me. To some, that's a good thing since we don't want to spend so much time on gachas or to actively grind. The bad thing is you'll quickly run out of stamina and then can't do anything else until you've recovered stamina. Because of this, I can see this game being a decent side game but not a great gacha game to make your main. After a month of the game's release, I've beaten most of the story, so all that's left is to max out my team. Now, other than the actual gameplay, how does everything else look? The character models and skill animations look good enough for a 3D gacha game. It looks way better than the Overlord gacha game, that's for sure. As for the story, it's a little disappointing as there's lots of missing scenes from the anime. For someone who's never seen the anime, the cutscenes and clips of the game does not do the show justice. And if you've already seen the anime, then you know you're not going to watch these cutscenes. Lastly, we'll talk about the game's upgrade system and gacha system. The upgrade system of the game is essentially the same as Memoria Freese. It reminds me of games like Fate Grand Order. In this game, every character has an assist character, an item, and a battle scene item. All the characters and items are pretty easy to max out with the resources gained from farming adventure. However, you're quickly bottlenecked by not having enough limit breaks on your ultra rare characters and items, which leads me into my last topic, the gacha rates. If you want to truly max out something, then you're likely going to need to get multiple copies of it, which is difficult for a free-to-play player unless you play for a long time. The gacha rates in Battle Chronicle are perfectly mediocre. Coming from the perspective of a free-to-play player, over the course of 0 to 2 weeks, I was able to get a total of 5 UR characters and 3 UR assists. For the most part, I was fine with just upgrading 3 ultra rare characters because a squad can only consist of 3 adventurers. I just leveled them all as highly as I can and that got me through the entire adventure mode on normal difficulty. So for the vast majority of players out there, you're going to get enough for a few fancy characters but likely not enough to limit break them a great deal unless you play this game for months. Compared to a lot of other gacha games out there, I felt like this game didn't really offer too many free premium crystals. Maybe enough to barely get a team of ultra rares, but not even close to considered generous. Overall, I'd say Danmachi Battle Chronicle is just good enough to be considered successful, but that's definitely subjective. It definitely could have been worse. Now, I've never experienced any issues with the game crashing or being unable to open, so I can't speak to those reviews. But I can agree with most of the reviews giving this game an average to okay rating. Because the game is relatively new during the time of making this video, I'm going to give it some slack, expecting it to get hopefully better in the future. If nothing changes however, then I think this game will be disappointing to many new players. It does the bare minimum in many areas and doesn't offer anything new to the gacha genre. I already see how money hungry the game is with all the content that requires money. The IP is honestly what carries the game, because if it wasn't for it being Danmachi, I think most players will easily lose interest in the game. With all that has been said, I would be fine giving this game a 3 out of 5. To some harsh critics, that may seem generous. However, I don't want to belittle the efforts the development team went into making this game, but I do want to let them know that there is a lot of room for improvement, and that for an IP like Danmachi, with a very dedicated fanbase, the game needs to be better. I hope you guys liked the review. If you have any questions or would like me to review other games, let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.